The conversation as to whether or not Ikwerre is Igbo has been a controversial one, and it doesn't align well with the Igbo community. So today, we have the privilege of sitting with an Ikwerre son who is of the opinion that Ikwerre is not Igbo. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Okachikwu and I'm standing in for Ikwerre TV. Welcome, Mr. Okachikwu Dibia. So please introduce yourself to the audience.
Thank you, Ikwerre TV, to have me here. I am Dr. Okachikwu Dibia. I'm from Rumakunde, Nemoha local government area of Rivers State. I have been interested in this issue for a long time. Today, I would like to express myself properly on it. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so there was an interview by a Nollywood actor who is also a lawyer, in the person of Kenneth Okonkwo, where he mentioned something about Aso Kawabara and Sim Fubara, that they have the right to decide whether or not Ikwerre is Igbo. What do you have to say about that?
Basically, you and I know that it is not up to a human being to determine where a group of people comes from.
Okay.
It is for those people to say who they are and where they come from. No one else says that. It is suspicious for somebody to say, Mr. A should say where the people of Ikwerre come from. That is not acceptable, logically and reasonably. So it's null and void. They don't have that authority, they don't have that right. Okay. That's what they call cultural assimilation or cultural osmosis. You and I are not English people.
Okay.
But we are using English language to communicate.
Okay.
Does that make us English? No.
Yeah.
So the question you should ask is, how come that you and I, who are Nigerians, are using English language to communicate? A simple analogy. Now let me take you back. In my place, Emoha, when I grew up in Emoha, and I know that Igbos who live amongst us never will say we are Igbo people.
Okay.
Never. They live among us either through slavery, through marriage, or through coming to do menial works in my place. So we interact. Most of our people married Igbo women.
Okay.
Who took time to teach their children Igbo language. They will never teach Ikwerre language. So obviously that child grows up with Igbo language. Recall also that during the Eastern region, Igbo was the language that was compulsory mandatory here to be taught in primary school. In my place, there's a story that goes this way, that a man takes his child, his son, to school for registration. The headmaster says, what is the child's name? My child's name is Ovunda. What is Ovunda? The headmaster is an Igbo man. What is Ovunda? That is his name. No, I don't know. I don't understand what is the meaning of Ovunda. Ovunda means the heart of the father. The headmaster quickly put the name as Obinna. Automatically. You can see the movement from Ovunda to Obinna. You can imagine what will be happening in other Ikwerre villages like that, where the Igbo is at the helm of affairs. They were in charge of the churches, they were in charge of the schools. And this they did throughout Ikwerre land. The typical Igbo person, if you're relating with an Igbo person, will not speak your language, will not like to speak your language. We speak his or her own language to you. You must speak his language. And this happens in the marketplace. And Igbos are all over our markets. So the Ikwerre people are subjected to either directly or indirectly learning Igbo language every day, from the family level to the community level. Now he made mention of Wike. Can you ask him what's the meaning of Wike in Ikwerre? In the interview Wike had before this time, Wike said, my name is Wike, and the meaning of Wike is what? little born baby. Nobody wants to take that. But you want to impose it on him, Nwike. So I asked the lawyer, what's the meaning of Nwike and what's the meaning of Wike? What's the difference? Where did the difference come from? There is this insidious aggressiveness in imposing Igbo on everybody around them. Let me give him the name of all my children. Let him tell me the name of one. Ikwerre is Igbo in language, okay? Okay. My last son, his name is Nkwamzinuchi. Let him tell us the meaning of Nkwamzinuchi. Till he dies, he will not be able to tell you the meaning of Nkwamzinuchi. Let him tell us the meaning of my daughter, Orioma. He can't tell you. Or the meaning of my boy, Osum. He can't tell you. But these are Ikwerre names. Any Ikwerre person that hears them understands. No Igbo person, I challenge all of them, can come and tell me the meaning of Nkwamzinuchi. Ikwerre is not Igbo, didn't start today. It started from when Ikwerre people noticed that Igbo people are trying to take them over. That was way back in the 40s. Through the Igbo unions. And Ikwerre started forming their own, saying, no, we're not you.
Ikwerre is not just the only tribe in Rivers State, as far as Rivers State is concerned. So I want to ask, how come they were not able to intrude on other tribes in Rivers State? Say tribes like Kalabari, the Ogonis, the Okirikas, because they still have their own unique language. How come the Igbos were not able to penetrate these regions and it was just Ikwerre?
If you go to Okirika, you see Igbo names. Go to any part of Kalabari, you see Igbo names. Aside the Kubotori that is an Igbo man, there is nowhere in this former Eastern region you will find Igbo names. You know, go in the Igbo names. Why it appears that Ikwerre is more affected is because of how many of them are in Ikwerre, how many of them were in Ogoni, how many of them were in Boni, how many of them were in Brass.
Okay.
Millions of them were in Port Harcourt, were around Ikwerre. That was why the influence happened to be more here than the rest of other people. And so over time, the other people were able to subdue. We couldn't. In Port Harcourt, check the landlords of this place. Where we are today is the owner of Igbo. There are more here in millions, in greater millions, than any other part of Niger Delta. Before 1956, you could have been saying, we're not Igbo. I told you before. That when our people noticed the handwriting, say, no, we're not you. Before Williams Commission of 1958, Ikwerre had established that we are not Igbo, and therefore we began to talk with Dapabriye, with the BRICS, how do we form Rivers State out of these people that are oppressing us? It was agreed that Igbos were oppressing us. Remember, the Williams Commission was about the fears of the minorities. So it's not about, it has nothing to do with oil. It's about you as your person, your being, your identity, your heritage, your ancestry. That's what we're talking about here. It's not got nothing to do with oil. No. So we are saying that we struggled that in the Williams Commission. We say we are not Igbo. They bought some of us, some of our chiefs, to say, no, we are Igbos. Like the Wobo from Job. And when he came back, people denounced him, threw him away, punished him. Okay? That was 1958. In 1963, Okachikwu was formed. What you hear to the Okachikwu culture worldwide was from 1963 to stamp the fact that we are not Igbo. 1963. Our first president was Nwebidike Wanade, under the chairmanship of E.J. Oriji. They formed it, and it stood. By 1967, the same Oriji, BRICS, and Dapabriye went to go on, create state for us, create Rivers State for us, and go and create it. What will be the capital? They told you Port Harcourt. And it was given to them. Igbos were angry with that. They've been angry with us for saying that we're not Igbo. They want us to agree to you. Why must we agree to who are not? Records have shown that is Igbo lineage to Ikwerre. How? There was a man called Akalaka. Akalaka was a Benin warrior who left Benin because the Oba then passed a law that he must not bear a male child until Oba has been able to get a male child. So when his wife gave birth to a boy, he moved in the night and left the place. Oba won't kill him. So he left with his brother. Some people say it's Ikwerre, some people say it's Okachikwu. Whatever it is, both belong to Ikwerre. So he left with him down to Ikwerre, Ahoda. From there, Okachikwu left, or Ikwerre had left to Ilele and then expanded. That's one angle. See, Ikwerre is a heterogeneous entity. We all didn't come from one source. This is one source, I just told you. The second source says that from Ishokpo, Wagidi, a Benin warrior, had come before this time we're talking about and established in Ishokpo. Go and read Ishokpo, go and meet the head of the Newell Ishokpo. He will tell you, Wagidi is the founder of Ishokpo Kingdom. One internal migration we know very well in Ikwerre land was the one from somebody who moved from Ishokpo and founded Rumeme. Rumeme is a community from Ishokpo. So in Ikwerre, there were such internal migrations that formed communities. I'll give you another example. There was a man called Oduoha. Oduoha was from Urukpoku and was the first man to come and establish a community in Emoha, where I come from. Emoha clan. Emoha is made up of 8 villages. So he established a village there, originally at what we call Ishodu now. Later moved on to another place called Oduoha now. Oduoha, if you check, Odu is still there. Ishodu, Odu is still there. Ishi again, head of my first son, like Ishokpo. So he left Ishodu, founded this one. So those two communities are from one man. From where? Rokpoko. Internal migrations. You also have example of Olo. Olo is from Abua, not Igbo. Came to Emoha, established in Emoha, formed what we call today Rumuche. And his younger brother formed what we call today Rumohe. 2 different villages in Emoha. And also Mbitawa, and that village in Emoha. You see, from that man alone, 3 villages. The other one, 2 villages, that is 5. My own village, Roma Akunde. Akunde is a man. This Akunde man is from Omofondele. Most of these people can hardly trace their origin to Igbo land. And you come and tell them they're Igbos. It doesn't make sense. They won't agree. The whole of Odegu community of about 5 villages, of 7 villages, are not from, they say they're from Benin. Now, come to Evo, Woji here. Ete Bakabaka has said this several times that we are from Benin. Those Okachikwu children that's dispersed, we have formed them. Akpo, of 8 or 9 villages, we call them Akpo Mutolu. About 8 villages that formed Akpo. They said, we didn't come from anywhere. Where we are is where we found ourselves. And nobody has been able to dispute them. That's Aboriginal. So I've told you now of immigration, internal migration, and Aboriginal.
And then there is Elele Alimini, who comes from Elele.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay? Yes, Elele from Elele. Let me also not miss the point that in Ikwerre land, there are Aro people, few Aro communities, who were allowed to stay after the Civil War, after the slave trade. The Ikwerres were the middlemen. It just didn't go to Okachikwu to go and bring slaves. Yet they never went to Okachikwu. It was the Ikwerre middlemen that went there to bring them and moved them to Ijo. And then they said to the white man. So after the abolition of slave trade, some of those slaves were held back and encamped in places. You have Aro between Obakere and Emoha, which we chased later, moved them to Alo, and stopped there.
Okay.
Go to Ishokpo, that's Azumini. Aros. Ishokpo said, no, you don't stay with us. Come and stay here. They are in Ikwerre land. But the point I want to make is that all of us agree that we're Ikwerre people. Let it stop there. You can't be an Aro man and you now start talking that you are from Igbo. It is wrong. It is preposterous for you to now say, oh, I'm an Aro man, yes. Though I'm in Ikwerre, I'm an Igbo. No, that is nonsense. You want to cause trouble. Because where you are is no more Igbo land. You must be where you are. You cannot be where you are not. You must respect it. Otherwise, you're going to cause ethnic tension. That's what the Igbos are doing. Okay, I call it Mbata / Okoko shame. That's what I call the whole of that process. It's a shame. Now, it is wrong to mix politics and ethnicity. It's dangerous. That was why the white man was intelligible enough to say, Let there be king and queen. Let there be governance. You don't mix the two. It's difficult. It will cause trouble. That is where our politicians do not understand, or they refuse to understand, that you can't mix these two things. If Mbata was knowledgeable enough, Mbata should have said, no, I'm an Ikwerre man. I can't be Ohanaeze the president. Because being that conflicts with where he comes from. So Mbata is causing problem for us. And I advise him to recount his steps and come back home. Otherwise, he remains an Igbo man forever.
Don't you think it's too late to go back?
No. There's nothing too late in life. That's why they say it's better late than never. If in future he recounts himself and says, no, what I did was wrong, Ikwerre, I'm sorry. All that I've done, that cancelled. And he comes back home. It's like a prodigal son. We will accept him. Because if you ask me, what he did was not proper. Having represented Ikwerre in National Assembly, it wasn't proper. Should Ikwerre ask him to refund all of that? Because it was done on behalf of Ikwerre. So now he has got an Ikwerre person. So shouldn't he refund us? It wasn't fair to Ikwerre people. Mbata was wrong. Okachikwu is wrong. All of them were wrong. Livingstone Uche is wrong. Chimene is wrong. They are all wrong. Because they live in Ikwerre and like think that they're Ikwerre. There's nothing like, I'm Ikwerre Igbo. Amechi was wrong. There's nothing like, I'm Ikwerre Igbo. It doesn't make sense in the first place. Does it make sense? It doesn't make sense. Because Ikwerre is a different entity. Igbo is a different entity. And we have established that we are not Igbo. We have established. Look, go and read the Oputa panel report. Ikwerre did a presentation, 2001, and said, we are neither Igbo nor Ijo. Clear. Elisha Amadi did the presentation for us. How else do we say we've not been denying it? We've been denying it from ages. But because they are among the big three in Nigeria, using their power on us, that's why people are hearing them. Other people won't hear them. I have not seen any Yoruba person claiming anybody outside Yoruba land. What is wrong with Igbo? I've not seen any Hausa man claiming any place that is not Hausa land. I've not seen an Edo man claiming any place that is not Edo land. What is wrong with Igbo? You form a map of Biafra, 40 states. Jesus Christ. Including the whole of the South. What kind of greed is that? What do you want? The politicians should not mix the two. They should separate them properly. Clear politics and leave Ikwerre alone. That's number one. Number two, to avoid these embarrassments. It's embarrassing to Ikwerre people for this kind of thing to be coming up every day, every time. And we have discovered that the reasons why these things are happening, probably because of the presence, dominance of Igbo in Ikwerre land. I suggest very strongly, maybe we check marrying Igbo wives. We check it. We check selling of our lands to Igbo people. We check it. We check allowing Igbos access to opportunities that are available to Ikwerre people. Admissions, scholarships. They infiltrate all of them. So we have to check all of this. About Ikwerre and other pan-Ikwerre groups, like the IPO, IPA, IPF, all of them, they should find a way of checking this infiltration by the Igbo person, the Igbo people in Ikwerre land. So that if we check it, we begin to reduce it. So that we can have breathing space. Ikwerre need to breathe.
Igbos do not have any concrete evidence to back up their claim as to whether or not Ikwerre is Igbo. Apart from the language similarity, that's like where they hold us to say Ikwerre is Igbo. There has been no history whatsoever where anybody came up to say that, okay, maybe in 1920 or in 18 or in 17 that Ikwerre migrated from a particular community in Igbo land. There has been no history of such. But what we have in Africa generally to preserve history before the advent of education is oral tradition. But there has been an oral tradition about Ikwerres migrating from Benin. So if a people says that this is where they're coming from, with the oral evidence that we have, I think they are allowed to come from where they know that they come from, and shouldn't be forced to believe that they are from a people.
Igbos will make progress in Nigeria if they agree to tolerate their neighbors.
Do you think that the energy that they are putting into Ikwerre to claim that Ikwerre, apart from the language similarity that they claim that we'll have, do you think that the energy they are putting into Ikwerre and even Rivers State at large is not because there's really any similarity with the language? It's just because of the oil?
No, see, if you look at the Igbo man and where he's coming from, they are landlocked. Okay?
Okay.
They are landlocked. Secondly, most of the land are not even productive, fertility-wise. So, what you should ask them, why are they coming out of their place in mass?
Okay.
Why are they not staying there? They should stay there in mass and develop the place. But they're coming out in mass. Why? Because of the unfavorable economic environment they live there. Okay. Now, this has made them to become good traders. They buy what you produce, they resell it, they survive. So commercial cities like Lagos will always find them useful. So, in that effort, they import a lot of things into their country. But they don't have access to the sea. That is why Okuku said in one of the interviews that, look, Ikwerre man is Igbo tongue to the sea. And if any person stops that, Igbos will visit the person with sword. That was why IPO wrote to IGP of that's a threat. So Igbo man's interest is they want to have access to that sea through Ikwerre, which is easier for them than to pass through any other means. You can't pass through Ogoni, Akwa Ibom to the sea. It won't be reasonable for you to pass through Ijo. You won't agree. Ijo is stronger. So the only way is Port Harcourt, is Ikwerre. That's why they want to die inside that claim.
Okay.
Because it gives them access to the sea. They are landlocked. And I have said severally that having your ship come through Port Harcourt port does not stop anything you having it. Does not stop you from having it. All you need to do is to pay the state charges and you collect your goods. Don't you import in Lagos? Don't you have access to your goods? So what is it? Why must it couldn't be Igbo for you to have access to the sea? No. It's not proper.
Thank you for staying with us on this interview with Dr. Okachikwu Dibia, who has given us his opinion that Ikwerre is not Igbo. So if you have any opinion, you can put it in the comment section. If you're of the opinion that Ikwerre is Igbo, write it there. If you are of the opinion that Ikwerre is not Igbo, you can also write it there. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel because we have more of these interviews coming up. My name is Oka Peace and see you guys next time.